Good evening and welcome to the news roundup for Monday the 7th of October. Before we get into the news, please remember to like this video, share your views in the comments, and share the video with your family and friends.
Reach them! Always make sure the message reach them!
Now for the news in detail. The 20 Haitians who were picked up by the police following their arrival by boat at a beach in Kensington, Portland on Saturday, were repatriated Sunday night. The group, which comprised of 14 men, 4 women and 2 boys, were reportedly returned to Haiti aboard a Jamaica Defense Force Coast Guard vessel less than 24 hours after landing. The Haitians had earlier claimed that they were fleeing prosecution, civil unrest, gang warfare and economic hardships in their homeland, where water and food were scarce. Additionally, members of the group who spoke through an interpreter alleged that persons are being brutally slaughtered and raped by gang members in Haiti. Minister of National Security Dr. Horace Chang says the government has not abandoned plans to introduce unexplained wealth orders. Dr. Chang said the policy on the application of UWOs was still at the concept stage and is yet to receive approval from the cabinet. A UWO is a court directive that allows law enforcement to confiscate assets from individuals who cannot demonstrate that their wealth was obtained legally. It would shift the burden of proof onto individuals to explain the source of their wealth.
All references made in 2023 Jones meet. There are 4 items listed and they're listed in order of priority on UWO number 4 from them. So the quotation is actually seeking to make some mischief when you suggest that, because we have said that it's not number 1 priority, that we are trying to shift to a base. But unfortunately, a lot of our commentators suffer from what I call an ear disease, which doesn't have a treatment because they see and hear what they believe, not what is said specifically.
Chang explained that the government's researchers and legal experts have been facing hurdles to establish a policy on UWOs that aligns with the Constitution.
In the passing of the Charter of Rights, a very recent legislation, relatively speaking, the protection of the accused was increased. The bar was raised, and government, who would be the accuser, have to prove beyond the shadow of a doubt. In fact, to go behind the Charter of Rights, its fundamental Charter of Rights, such as right to privacy, right not to self-incriminate, right to property. I think the comment that was used by one of our learned judges, one of our outstanding judges, is that ending to breach that must be manifestly justified.
He says if the constitutional demands are not satisfied, the government could potentially face legal challenges from those who are served with UWOs.
Which means by the time you go for UWO in our system, you literally have all the required proof you want. And that evidence you wish. And that evidence will be used to continue investigation. So it's not a barrier, but it will be a supplemental effect which may bring you quicker response if the person decides to cooperate. Most of them are going to take it as far as the privy council to in fact, protect their right to privacy, property, and not to self-incriminate. But technically what you're doing in an unexplained way is saying, look, we find that, no, we need to know more. You tell me that. I said, no, I don't have to tell you anything.
The UWO was among the areas that the government agreed to when it signed to the CMOC consensus in 2020. Meanwhile, Dr. Chang says there are several other investigative tools available to the country's anti-corruption regime.
We know it can be of value, but we have a lot of tools to deal with in fighting financial crimes. On the process of crime which we have amended twice since I've been minister. So we're not sitting around doing nothing to increase the number of designated agents, etc. that comes under proceeds of crime. So we can do wider investigation. And there are a lot of things listed there, from money laundering, cash and seizure forfeiture. I can list maybe 20 or 30 items. Provide for the issuance of certain seizure warrants, provide account monitoring, investigation of disclosure orders, and I can give you a list of them, 20 or 30 items. The FID has enormous powers in investigation. The Larceny Act, the Criminal Justice Suppression Crime Act, the Cybercrime Act, the Corruption Prevention Act, Common Law Offences, etc., plus the institutions that are required is maybe even as critical or more critical sometimes than legislation.
The St. Thomas police are investigating the fatal shooting of a 23-year-old man in the parish on Sunday night. The deceased has been identified as Jaheem Braham, otherwise called Ja, a labourer of Blacksmith Lane in the parish. Reports are that about 8:45 p.m, Braham was at McLean Lane in Seaford when explosions were heard. The police were summoned, and on their arrival, Braham was found with what appeared to be gunshot wounds. He was assisted to the hospital where he was pronounced dead. No motive has yet been established for Braham's death. The Morant Bay Criminal Investigations Branch is probing the incident. The Manchester police have vowed that Mandeville will never again see the kind of violence that occurred last week Friday, when gunmen killed 2 people near the market. The mid-morning attack also injured 5 people. Led by Deputy Superintendent Kerry Duncan, a team of lawmen toured the Manchester capital on Monday morning in a move they have dubbed Operation Restore.
We realize that persons are a little bit apprehensive as to what is happening, so we have decided as a team to come out to restore public confidence and public order within the public spaces in Manchester. And so this morning, this operation that you're seeing, we have dubbed it as Operation Restore. And as I said before, it's to restore the public order and public confidence of the persons within the space. So last week, Friday, we had a very unfortunate incident within this town centre. Very unfortunate, I might add. And we want to let them know that we are here with them and for them. And I want to commit to them that what they saw last week, Friday, will never happen again in this township.
DSP Duncan says his team is following strong leads in the incident and will be executing tighter security measures in several communities. He says entertainment events will also be restricted.
We're following some very strong leads in that incident last week. We understand that we are also looking at persons from our neighboring parishes, and we hope to make a breakthrough very, very soon. I'm just going to ask the persons within this parish to just bear with us a little bit. Yes, we have some tighter security measures within the space, in that we are looking at some areas, particular areas. We are doing some shutdowns because, as we understand it, persons are looking at places where people gather to exact revenge killings. So we are looking at shutting down some areas. For the time being, for the majority of this parish, we won't be having any events being permitted in certain areas.
While he did not name the communities, DSP Duncan says intelligence suggests that there are decades-old feuds between the communities and that strings are being pulled by overseas influencers. Justice Minister Delroy Chuck says he is disappointed at the lack of proper maintenance of courts and their infrastructure. He was responding to concerns about the conditions of some of the nation's courts and the deterioration of the facilities. Chuck noted the issues resides with the Court Administration Division. Lawyers have vented frustration over the state of the country's courts. In addition, last week, court clerks from the Kingston and St. Andrew Parish Court brought to public attention the poor air quality of their work environment. The minister signaled that even after the government spends money on renovation, unless there is systematic maintenance, the problems will continue. The Manchester police are trying to ascertain the identity of a man who was fatally shot in a drive-by in Porus last night. Reports are that about 8:50 p.m., the man was on Main Street in the area when he was pounced upon by persons on a motorcycle who fired shots hitting him. The bike drove away. The man was assisted to the hospital where he was pronounced dead. Investigation is being undertaken by the Porus police. A St. Anne couple was arrested and charged with several offences following the seizure of a firearm in the Bel Air housing scheme in Runaway Bay on Sunday. Charged are 46-year-old Hood Carver Omar Henry, otherwise called Smokey, and 34-year-old shopkeeper Stacey Ann, otherwise called Chichi, both of Bel Air housing scheme in the parish. They have been charged with possession of a prohibited weapon, unauthorized possession of ammunition, possession of ganja, and dealing in ganja. Reports are that between 4:45 a.m. and 7:30 a.m., the couple's home was searched as part of a joint police-military operation. During the search, one Smith & Wesson 9mm pistol with a magazine containing 3 9mm rounds was found, along with approximately 8 pounds of ganja. The couple was taken into custody and subsequently charged. Their court date is being finalized, the police said. Detectives in St. Anne are searching for a suspect in the fatal stabbing of a man in Claremont on Sunday. The victim has been identified as a 38-year-old Joseph Baker, a farmer of Cowley in the parish. According to the police, about 8 p.m., Mr. Baker was walking with his girlfriend on the Cowley main road when they passed a bar operated by a man said to be the ex-boyfriend of the woman. On seeing Baker in the company of the woman, the suspect allegedly attacked and stabbed him in the chest. Baker died at the scene. His attacker fled. 9 people died in motor vehicle crashes on the weekend. The deceased include brothers who were driving motorcycles in Spot Valley, St. James. The number of fatalities since January now stands at 288, compared to 319 for the corresponding period last year. Vice President of the National Road Safety Council, Dr. Lucien Jones, said this represents a decline of 10%. Nevertheless, he maintained that the carnage on the roads is troubling. 5 of those who died on the weekend were motorcyclists, he noted, adding that since the start of the year, 95 of those killed were motorcyclists. In business, Minister of Finance Dr. Nigel Clark says that up to 8 a.m. today, there was 190,068 approved applications for the government's reverse income tax credit. The reverse income tax credit provides a one-off $20,000 credit to individual taxpayers who earn less than $3 million annually. The government estimates that approximately 580,000 Jamaican taxpayers will benefit from the initiative. It is expected to cost approximately $11.4 billion. The application period is October 2 to December 2. To be eligible, persons must be contributing to the system via education tax, National Housing Trust, and the National Insurance Scheme (NIS) statutory deductions. In sports, Jamaica Football Federation President Michael Ricketts is optimistic about securing airline sponsorship to alleviate the federation's high travel costs, which can exceed $10 million per trip. He revealed that discussions with an international marketing company and a major airline are ongoing, though still in early stages. Players have previously criticized travel arrangements, prompting efforts to improve efficiency since hiring a project manager. Ricketts acknowledges past issues but emphasizes a commitment to reducing mistakes and enhancing travel experiences for both the men's and women's teams as they prepare for a busy 2025. And that is it for your news roundup for today. We would appreciate you liking this video, leaving a comment, and sharing the video with your family and friends. Have a good evening and see you next time.